Hey everybody, Ben here from DMC Films and Cinderblock Studios, and welcome back to the Principles of Design Part 5. Today we're looking at pattern and repetition. Pattern and repetition. So first let's take a look at pattern. Pattern usually starts as some sort of visual representation. Well, very simple, like a drawing or painting, of an object or a symbol or something like that. In modern art, we're looking at a lot of stylized abstract patterns. A lot of times your visual representation or visual element is defined with another form of one of the elements of design, say a person and a color. However, pattern doesn't necessarily refer to just one composition, but can also refer to a series of compositions. For example, the pattern in my Father and Son series is the recurring father and son figures in a variety of landscapes. So if you haven't already guessed it by now, most uses of pattern, at least in terms of art history, have been used in modern and postmodern artwork. Now, a lot of people don't really understand modern and postmodern art, but to put simply, it's a simple design used to convey idea and/or emotion without a lot of other distracting elements. Keep in mind, though, that pattern is not exclusive to modern art. It's been used in realism throughout the centuries to add detail. Consider the pattern of a dress, or the pattern of leaves. Looking at some modern examples, though, Jackson Pollock's work is a really great example of pattern. While it may just look like a big mess of splattery paint, there is some level of pattern to it. It's different layers in a certain order. That is what pattern really is. A lot of Mondrian's work is also a great example of pattern in a slightly more obscure fashion. A lot of people would say that Mondrian's work isn't really art because it's just lines and shapes and things on a page. Well, the thing about modern art is it goes usually much deeper than just, oh, I know what this looks like, I know what this is. This type of work is designed specifically to emphasize how line and color make up every painting. It integrates both physical use of the line and color as well as sort of psychological understanding of them as well. And then with pattern also comes repetition. Repetition. Okay, I'm not going to do that again. Repetition works with pattern to create a unified form or composition. Early in this series, we talked about both balance and emphasis. When placed alongside repetition, balance and emphasis can be used to create something a little bit more meaningful. As mentioned before, Mondrian's work features a lot of very simple lines and things like that, but the composition is actually balanced, and his meaning in that piece is something a little more deeper, a little more psychological. Things that are designed to make you think a little more than make you feel. While repetition may not show up as often in a lot of 2D art, it shows up a lot in 3D art. Think of the Art Deco movement, specifically the Chrysler Building in New York City. While it may not actually look like much, just sort of designs of sort of round shapes and things like that, the actual design was inspired by the wheels on a car, so of course being the Chrysler Building, everything just sort of fell into place, and it has that meaning underneath the pattern and repetition of that may just seem a little bit simple. So I hope the given examples and my explanations here today have given you an example of what pattern and repetition is in a particular piece of art. Remember, as we continue on through our journey through the principles of design, if you ever get lost along the way, be sure to check out the link in the description box below for the Elements and Principles of Design playlist so you can watch this series in its entirety. And as always, for more tips, tutorials, and other art videos, subscribe to the channel. This has been from DMC Films and Cinderblock Studios. See you guys next time.